Yeah, she get to the cash when she walk. She look like a bad when she walk. She get to the
Welcome back to the podcast. This is Kalea Taylor, your host for the Clutch Your Pearl Show, and I'm coming to you live from Accra, Ghana. Yes, y'all, let's get on into it. Now, this episode is gonna bring fire. Episode 6 of the Clutch Your Pearl Show is called Land of the Side Chick, or Madman Mania. And I say that simply because there is a way of interacting and doing business here as a woman that essentially you don't really deal with as much anymore in the States or the UK, but they still have a little bit of this going on in like Germany and France for sure. And that is sexism. It is sexism to the point where, you know, women are relegated to roles like being a secretary or going to get you food, or secretaries are expected to sleep with their bosses. This is the norm here. The norm. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't any female CEOs of large organizations or corporations. And I'm not saying that there aren't some powerful women in every sector here in Ghana, because there are. However, for the majority of women here working within organizations, from academia to hospitality down to marine biology or maritime or whatever, I'm trying to think of the alphabet that's towards the end of the spectrum, police, it doesn't matter, whatever. I'm trying to think of the alphabet's letters, you know, that goes down. From A to Z, you're going to have women be approached by their bosses for sex. Some women are going to be intimidated to the point where if they don't give them some form of sexual favor, they will lose their job. And because jobs are scarce, some women will just go ahead and do it just to hold on to their job. And even if they're married, because they have no choice. Now, this extreme sexism is common. And people in certain, let's say, classes of society and in certain income brackets will warn each other and talk about this nonsense amongst themselves, yet no one speaks up publicly. Now, they have these sexism or sexual harassment campaigns, talking about sexual harassment, doing a lot of showboating, show and tell type of bullshit. Because at the end of the day, none of these organizations follow the things that they say they do. At the end of the day, a man will not be reprimanded for his inappropriate behavior with his employee and or student, because this happens within student-teacher relationships at any level of education. You know, let's go from junior high school all the way up to graduate school. Yes, it happens, and it's known. And it's like a open secret. We know what's happening, but we're not going to quite do anything about it because, you know, men are men. So when you're in a society like this as a woman, so you know, as you can hear, y'all know, I'm a girl. I'm a woman. I'm of the lady persuasion by birth. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, and get all those lady parts and lady things that come every month to remind you, you's a woman. And give you pain along the way. But when it comes down to it, this type of sexism is completely appropriate and expected and accepted by society. Now, when you have that and you're coming in as a foreigner, or you're coming back to Ghana because you've been living abroad for a long time, or you were raised abroad, or you were even born abroad, born and raised abroad, but your parents are Ghanaian, and you're coming back to Ghana for the first time, even though you have family here, you know, and ties, you still are going to experience the same exact thing that any other woman would experience. And to me, personally, I almost got completely discouraged with trying to do my secondary business here in Ghana, which is, my background is in technology. So I have another business that's technology based. And I was getting to the point of discouragement because I feel like the men are just so grossly inappropriate that it's like when you meet someone that's not, you are always fearful that he might try something or say something disgusting or inappropriate, and it just makes you uncomfortable being around them. But you can't do your work, your job, your business without interacting with men, especially in a male-dominated field like technology. So, in order to understand how this is allowed to be able to still have traction, you have to understand that having a side piece, having a side chick, having multiple wives is normal. First of all, we have several religions taking place simultaneously here. You have Christianity and Islam with the traditional African religions. And the Islamic group will take on several wives. Now, this used to be the case because there weren't enough men for women, and a man can take care of multiple wives and have a lot of children to be able to help on the farm, to take care of, the things that help everyone survive. The more kids you have, the more farm hands you have, basically, but that has extended into modern times. And now it seems to be more a show of, look at me, versus can I take care of, all these people and be able to have a bunch of kids so that we can support our entire family. I'm not going to get into the dynamics of it too deeply because it is so intricate. There's so much to it that I personally don't even truly understand. But it's an interesting dynamic. So polygamy here is legal, okay? No one gets arrested for polygamy. No one gets arrested for child marriage. They do that too. This is typically things you'll see in the North, but you can see a man with multiple wives right here in the crop. A lot of times the man will have his first wife in his home village or town, and his second and third wife will be right here in the crop. Sometimes they all live in the same compound, and you'll have like a large compound with 3 houses on it. And then sometimes he'll have his women wives that he's legally married to in the traditional format laid up in their own houses, scattered around the crop. This is normal. Now let's get to the land of the side chick, because wives aren't side chicks. Everyone knows about the wives. All the families know about the wives, and the wives know that the additional wife is coming on. So they all know about it. But the land of the side chick thing is interesting because you can have a man who, let's say he's a Christian, he has one wife that he married maybe at 22 with children. He's now 40 and he has a mistress and a girlfriend. Now, what's the difference between a mistress and a girlfriend? To be perfectly honest, you cheating and you a hoe ass. I don't know. All I know is that he'll have a mistress, which I guess is the second main thing after the wife. And then the girlfriend is just, a piece of ass. Like, I don't know. But they have this, and women willingly and openly will play these roles with no problem. Most of these guys aren't going to tell you that they're married, but a lot of them will tell you that they're married because at the end of the day, they're never leaving their wives. That's just not going to happen. They'll have babies all over the place, and most of them will take care of those babies. But, you never know. So with that culture happening across the tribal groups, it's not like, oh, this is only relegated to one region and one tribe. No, this is across Ghana. And happens a lot across Africa, especially West Africa. So, you see this a lot. So with that, now you have a cultural background that, let me tell you, this is like Cliff Notes version. This is like high level as high level can get. It can get so much more intricate, so much deeper. They can go all philosophical on you, super religious on you to justify doing what they do. But God forbid a woman has a side piece or a second husband, right? So with this societal norms at hand, the sexual harassment that we know of in the West here is considered common. it's not even considered sexual harassment. Most organizations and folks are still learning what sexual harassment even is. You don't even know what it is. They're learning what it is now and trying to figure out, does this apply? 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty sure it does. We're getting beyond being called like sweetie and honey and baby. We're going to the touching, the booties, the titties, the arms, kissing, rubbing on things, and then, just getting right down to it and getting the nasty on. You know what I'm saying? Be getting nasty on, okay? And then pretending like they don't. They go to church the next day, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. And then they spanking that ass the day afterwards when he know he got a wife at home. So I am talking about this because this is very relevant to business, especially as a female founder or a female dual, like you're part of a team and one of the team members is a woman. You will experience this at some point, even if your partner is your husband, and it won't happen directly in front of his face. It can happen when he is not with you and you have to handle the business yourself. Or it can happen if you take a meeting and he leaves. Oh, you best believe shit goes down in offices. That's why it's best to meet people in public places. When you have meetings with men here in Ghana, especially these older men, don't meet them in their offices. And that includes MPs, these politicians, unless you have someone with you, because they're not going to try anything when you have someone else with you. So I have seen these like local assembly people. And so think of them as your alderman or as your, what do they call this? Alderman is the name in Chicago, but in other places of the U.S., they may call this like your councilman, your council person. I have seen male assembly members and their little ranky-dink, raggedy-ass office have bars on all the windows and have a bulletproof triple lock door. And then invite women to come in there and you don't see them come out till 30 minutes, hour later, looking totally different than what they went in as. So either they're voluntarily, getting broke off, or it's not voluntary. But everything about it is creepy, it's all hell. So I learned very quickly never to take a meeting with any man in his office. I'm not doing it. We need to be in a conference room that has windows and everybody can see, or we need to be in a public place like a hotel lobby, in that one of these large hotel lobbies are at a restaurant. Because the big hotels here, a lot of business meetings that take place in their lobbies because it's just great for meeting and doing transactions and just doing business. So it's common to do that. I don't mean meeting someone in a hotel room. No, ma'am. I'm talking about in the lobby where the restaurant is, and you're sitting at that restaurant or the lounge area that's an open space and everybody's moving back and forth and there's waiters and waitresses. So all eyes are watching, and they might say something inappropriate, but they won't be fully inappropriate. Why am I saying this? Because I had a hard time adjusting to this behavior. Because to me, this is pure and utter sexual harassment, and you should know better not to do that. And I think the younger you are, the worse you get it. And they were very much, it happened to me about 2-3 different times. And when it happened to me, all these men assumed I was much younger than what I am. Now, you do have sexual harassment on me, or you become inappropriate with me, I'm going to have words for that ass, because I am grown, y'all. Y'all know I have adult children, right? Don't let the black don't crack fool you. Just because I look youthful and I got clear skin, don't mean that I don't have wisdom and experience. So, I will check these fools left and right and make them feel completely uncomfortable. But what happens when you do that is that, of course, you lose the opportunity to do business, you lose the opportunity to do a partnership, and you lose the opportunity that would have came your way for your business and would have brought in money. So you have to make a decision. So for me personally, that decision is figuring out how to pivot with my company so that I won't have to have these type of uncomfortable encounters. And that comes with having a male speak on behalf of the company, or having a male take these meetings that normally I would take myself. Yet I'm still running the company and I still have, control over my company and how things work. It just means stepping back and sometimes letting a man face You know how a lot of black companies in the West will allow a white man to be the face of their organization so that they can get the sale or seal the deal. Well, quite frankly, a lot of that has to be done here. Now, if you don't mind folks pushing up on you all the time and being inappropriate, and you're a big ass, flirt, or borderline hoe, then you will feel right at home doing this. So this doesn't apply to you, but this applies to everybody else. And ain't nothing wrong with being a hoe. I mean, if you a hoe to get paid, let your hoeness go on. Do what you do, sister girl, do what you do. But yours truly, no, honey, no, thank you. But this madman mania type of running loose and acting a donkey with every woman you see is 100% acceptable. Why do I call it Mad Men Mania? Remember that show? There was a show called Mad Men, and it was set like in the 50s, and it's like a show of like I think they were like an advertising company in New York, and they were showing how the office environment was for women in that space during that time. Well, I feel like Ghana is still during that time, a time when women were relegated to specific roles, when women were expected just to have babies and stay at home. All this is true for Ghana, even though women work. Women work. There are tons of women working in offices, in government, in the private sector, in the informal sector. They are working. However, there's still all the same expectations of getting married and having babies. And then while you're working, you better be sure, you better recognize you're getting checked out. You might get felt up. Some woody woo, it might happen. Woody woo, it might go down, right? But people learn how to survive and navigate within this structure because it's all they know. And like before sexual harassment became like illegal and there was consequences for your actions in like the States or in certain countries in the West, people did it like crazy because they could, right? And if anything, the woman would be fired. So it's kind of like, well, damn, what do we do now, right? What do we do now? So coming into Africa and coming into Ghana, knowing that this is commonplace, will help you to understand that, okay, I need to be careful and I need to understand how do I interact with these men, especially these older men who are typically going to be the ones who have the power to give you a contract, who have the power to approve in partnership, who have the power to move things forward. You have to figure out how to navigate. Now, can this be true with the opposite sex? So let's talk about men coming into the workplace and a woman has a powerful position. Hell to the yeah, it's Ghana. It's Ghana. It's Africa. Anything's possible, right? But it's not frequent and it's pretty rare. Not saying it's good, especially if it makes you uncomfortable. But what I'm saying is that it could happen. However, as a man, you have that ability. As your masculinity has that ability to kind of shut that shit down, right? I mean, unless you a super flirty, I mean, you could be a hoe too. Hoes is hoes. Y'all do what y'all need to do. I ain't hating on you though. But you have that ability to just dominate the situation if you want to. Now, here's the thing about domination, and I'm going to say this, and I'm not saying this is not like no sexual domination, y'all, but dominating as a woman in an African country like Ghana that's patriarchal is seen as disrespectful and rude, and it's also seen as almost like inappropriate behavior in the workplace. So when you have that ability to be very assertive and aggressive, and I don't mean aggressive in a bad way, but I mean aggressive in a way that, okay, this is how this should be done and this is how we're going to do it. You gave me your feedback. I appreciate it. I incorporated it. Now let's move forward. You do that here, and then that's seen as something bad. I've learned this the hard way too, guys. So it's like these cultural things you have to learn, but hey, that's true in any country that you go to. So when you're dealing with things like this, it's like a double-edged sword as a woman. So that leaves you with having to figure out how to navigate the best way possible when you're trying to run a business. It is 100% possible. There are other folks here from China, Lebanon, folks from the States, folks from Canada, folks from the UK, folks from all over the world running businesses here as women within this Ghanaian society and making it work for them. So if they can do it, then you can do it too. And I certainly can do it. But it takes time, and you will have to figure out how to navigate the system, and that's the thing that you won't know until you actually are living in Ghana. Not visiting, but actually living here to really understand how these dynamics work. Now, some of you might be like, why the hell is she talking about this shit? Well, when you got little lady parts, this matters because you don't want your lady parts to be violated by a little nasty ass, yuck yuck. Okay? Seriously. We like to take pride in our little lady parts and keep them to ourselves. You know what I mean? Unless you're in a certain, a loving relationship, or, use a hoe, and then, you fling it out, whatever. Not everybody, but, every once in a while you have somebody do a little something strange for some change. So, I ain't hating on the hoes. But for those of us who ain't hoeing, this is a topic of discussion. Now, I done told y'all in Clutch Your Pearls, I'm always going to make Clutch Your Pearls. So that last segment, you probably was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, for real, though. But I will tell you that this whole land of the side chick thing is insanity. It is such insanity because you would find people, and this comes at all levels of society, from the rich, middle class to the poor, whatever, working class, all levels of society. I know I didn't say it in the right order, but you know what I mean. So it's kind of like you will have some people roll up on folks who they think have money. If you're coming from the outside, they think you're rich, guys, ladies, period. All of y'all. They think we're rich, regardless. They'll roll up on you, even if they know you have a wife, and let you know that they're willing to be your side chick, and you can put a baby in them, and they're fine with that. Yes. I have had guys tell me the strangest, craziest stories that have been happening to them here in Ghana from Ghanaian women. And even girls as young as like 16, 17. It's like, it's kind of gross and weird. And luckily, grown men are like, oh, no, dear, you are a child. Go, no. But, some of them get caught up with the ladies, with the grown ladies, because, they got some, they got big booties or something. Like, I don't know. But it is crazy that, I guess it's not crazy. It's just high levels of poverty will do this, number one, right? Number two, there are plenty of people chasing the green card. Meaning that they're trying to chase citizenship outside in one of these other countries in the West. So if they think you can take them back with them, then they all for it. But this all goes into the land of the side chicks topic because it's helping you to understand some of the dynamics that are happening here. Now, does that make doing business in Ghana impossible? No. Does that make doing business in Ghana hard? No. Does that make doing business in Ghana a bad thing? No. However, when you're doing business in Ghana, you need to be mindful as a woman. You are looked at differently, you are treated differently, and you have to find a way to still be confident, not aggressive, knowledgeable, while still making these men feel comfortable. And that, my dear, is a hard ass thing to do when you know that what the hell they're talking about is dumb. And let's say this technology is so old that you're like, you have got to just skip it and go to the next level because this doesn't make any sense. And then they get offended. Yeah, I've had that happen. I'm kind of smart, and sometimes, I don't try to be the smartest person around. I just try to have engaging conversations that stimulate the intellect and that can add value to whatever I'm talking about. And so, but some people take offense to that, and I've noticed that seriously here in Ghana. And people here also won't tell you when they don't know something or they can't do something. They won't say that. They will pretend, and that can be destructive when you're trying to do business in a certain area and you think that the people that you're working with have a certain level of knowledge and they do not. So it means that either you would have to reteach what should have already been taught, or you have to adjust what it is you are trying to provide. And I'm talking about, let's say you're providing a software technology or something, and you're trying to help people learn how to use it, help them understand why it's good for their organization. But you're going to have to teach someone how to use it, but they don't really understand how to get to A, and you are already talking about what's happening at C. So it's a lot there that's takes some adjustment. Now, I'm speaking of the field that I know of, right? This may not be true for the field that you're in. You may never have these interactions, these encounters, because you're doing something different. You're doing something that's, let's say, in a more female-dominated field. You're doing something where, you don't have to interact as much with men because men don't dominate, the industry. And that's great. And hopefully you won't have to deal with it. But being aware of it, for those of you who will or may experience this, and for those of you in male-dominated industries, because if it's male-dominated where you are, it's likely male-dominated here as well. Yeah, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this particular episode of the Clutch Your Pearl Show. It definitely is a unique topic to talk about when you're talking about entrepreneurship and business in Africa. But quite frankly, most people will never talk about it with you. Most like incubators, organizations do this whole song and dance around business culture and cultural norms here in Africa, and especially in Ghana. They pretend like they are Westerners, and they're not. And it's a totally different culture and dynamic here when doing business. So I'm just gonna give you the reality of different things I experienced myself and different things I know others have experienced to help you understand that if this happens, you will have to find a way to adapt yourself in order to be able to work within or around this system so that you don't get swallowed up, caught up, poured out, and passed around. Not good to be a hoe, y'all. I hope no hoes is listening to me get mad. There's always Hoes Redemption School. You can do that. I don't offer them courses, but I'm sure they're out there though. No worries. This is about Mad Men Mania in the land of the side chicks here in Ghana. Well, I hope you enjoyed this show. Thank you so much for joining me on episode 6 of the Clutch Your Pearl Show. I will be back to you next Friday with episode 7. So stay tuned. And there we go. Thanks y'all for joining me live from Accra, Ghana.
Girl, do it, do it, do it, do it.